We now move forward to our second lecture for this morning session. To introduce our second magisterial lecturer, may we call on Professor Raquel Francisco, a faculty from the Math and Physics Department. I think I don't need to say, let's give her a warm of applause.
Ano ba yun? Good morning. Hindi po akong speaker. Good morning again. It is our distinct honor to introduce our magisterial lecturer, Dr. Frederick B. Alinas, a distinguished educator, academic leader, and mathematics specialist whose career reflects a deep commitment to excellence in teaching, research, and educational leadership. Dr. Alinas earned his Doctor of Philosophy in Education, major in Educational Management from the Graduate School of Education of the University of Perpetual Health System, Delta in Las Piñas City in 2022. He previously completed his Master of Arts in Education, major in Mathematics with high distinction at at Arellano University in Manila in 2016, where he also received the Dean's Citation for his thesis. His strong foundation in mathematics began with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from St. Mary's University in Bayombong, Nueva Vizcaya in 2002, where he was recognized as a Likha Awardee. A licensed professional teacher since 2006, Dr. Alinas has devoted more than 2 decades to mathematics education and academic service. He is currently a mathematics professor under the Department of Math and Physics at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences of the University of Makati, where he has been serving since 2016. Prior to this, he held key leadership roles at Sacred Heart Academy of Pasig, including academic coordinator for the senior high school and subject area coordinator for mathematics, where he played a vital role in curriculum development, academic supervision, and instructional leadership. Dr. Alinas' professional journey reflects not only his expertise in mathematics, but also his dedication to shaping educational institutions and empowering learners through quality instruction and effective academic management. His scholarly preparation, leadership experience, and passion for education make him a highly respected voice in the field. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride and privilege that we welcome our magisterial lecturer, Dr. Frederick B. Alinas.
Okay, so good morning. So your response will be, okay, so a decision making later on that I'll be doing. Good morning. Oh, mahina. So meron sana akong i-confess since this is a good opportunity for me to tell you that on 2028, I decided that you should be able to learn something from this magisterial talk. So napaka-importante ng magisterial talk na to. Just like what we have in the magisterial talk while ago by our professor, so si Professor Joy Pascual. So napakaganda nung combination. So basically, so I'll also be enumerating some pamahiin sa magiging magisterial talk na to. So, before I start, so good morning to everyone. Okay? So, you heard the word democracy. Ano nga ba yung demokrasya? Madalas nating naririnig ito. Okay? Demokrasya, sigaw nga natin, demokrasya. Okay, so I hope that lahat tayo ay alam ang ibig sabihin nito. Okay? Sabi nga ni Sir Jerwin kanina, isigaw na natin. Okay? So, democracy is a system of government where power is held by the people, exercised either directly or through elected representative. So one of the rights or one of the one of the rights that we have, so under democratic country, is the right to vote. Okay? So, meron na ba ditong bumoto nung last election? Okay, so hopefully you are exercising your right to vote. Okay, so if you are 18 years old, Filipino citizen, resident for 1 year, 6 months in a local area, so you can be a registered voter. So today's talk will follow the following key objectives. Okay. So first, explain the role of mathematics in democratic decision-making and voting system. Then, we are able to introduce the concept, to examine different voting system, demonstrate fairness and efficiency in election, analyze strengths and limitation of voting system. Then, we have also to highlight some of the voting paradoxes and fairness criteria, then encourage or inform participation in democracy. Okay? So why do we vote, or why do we need to study voting system? So that's the question. Okay? So how does it shapes democracy? Okay? So paano nga ba nagagawa ni Matt na i-shapes yung democracy? So I have a question here. So this is a very interesting question. If everyone votes honestly, is it guaranteed that the fairness candidate will win? So what do you think? So tandaan niyo yung question na yan. Babalikan natin yan mamaya after the discussion, after the lecture. Then we'll see if you're able to understand the concept. So a voting system is a method used to collect, count, and translate votes into a decision or winner in an election. So it determines how votes are cast, how they are counted, and how the winner is decided. So syempre, yung pinakasimpleng explanation, punta tayo sa presinto, as voter, boto tayo using the voting system that we are using. Then after that, they will count the votes. Then whoever gets the highest points will be declared as winner. Okay? So why do we need to study this? So definitely, under democratic country, so we should understand the concept of voting system so that it can ensure fair representation, build trust and participation, apply mathematics and logic, improve policy and governance. So these are the basic terms that we keep on hearing before election. So meron tayong voters, the electorate, the voters, the candidates, the ballot, the majority, spoiled ballots. Okay, then sometimes we are hearing, let's say, party who are favoring a particular candidate. Okay, so there are infinite types of voting system, but we will only be concentrating on 5. First is what we call plurality. The second one is majority. Then we have what we call weighted, proportional, ranked choice voting. So ayan, so we have 5 types in this particular session. So plurality, so I'll just be discussing first the different types, then later on I'll provide example so that you will see ganun pala yung magyayari kung ganito pala yung ginamit natin and so on and so forth. So the plurality means simply the highest, okay, will be declared. The one who got the highest votes will be declared as winner. So ganun lang kasimple. So the one that we are using. So if we conduct, let's say, an election today, whoever gets the highest vote will be declared as winner. Okay? So the second one is what we call majority system. So here, we need the majority votes in order for us to declare a particular candidate to be the winner. Okay? Then the third one is the weighted voting system. So paano naman pag weighted voting system? So if you recall your GWA, your GWA is computed based on weights. Diba? Meron tayong 5-unit subject, 3-unit subject, 2-unit subject, 1-unit subject. Okay? In the same way, we can also apply that to votes. So kaya meron tayo ditong weighted voting system. So most of the time, it is applied in board of directors when they vote. So let's say, for example, meron tayo diyang members A to C. Then member A has 40 shares. Member B, 35 shares. Then we have 25 shares. So syempre, if you have to conduct the voting system through weighted votes, so mananalo dyan si A. If only one person votes, their vote weight depends on share ownership. So kaya if you are familiar with stockholders or yung mga shareholders in a company, pinagbabawal, I think, ng batas na yung isang shareholder magkaroon ng 50% share. Diba? So dahil nga, pag meron na siyang 50% share, the problem when they conduct an election or if they are to decide something, okay, so panalo na agad si shareholder na may 50%. Okay? Then we also have the ranked choice voting. So this one, instead of clicking or instead of simply choosing your candidate, what you do is you will rank them from the highest or from first to last. Then we have the proportional representation. So dito naman, proportional representation based on proportion. So it's similar to weighted votes. So kung papansinin nyo, we use this in the party list. Hindi ba? Sa party list natin, ginagamit natin tong proportional representation. Okay? So we have known the different types or the different forms of voting system. So since nasa Pilipinas tayo, pag-usapan natin yung voting system ng Pilipinas. Aware ba sa voting system ng Pilipinas? Based on the 5 types that I've mentioned, anong type yung ginagamit natin sa Pilipinas? The first one, the plurality or okay? Ayan. So, in a party list system, so meron tayong proportional representation. Okay, so I think we have there 20% seats reserved. Okay, then after that, they decide how many seats will be allotted for the party list who will get the highest votes. Okay, for presidential election naman, so napakasimple, just count the votes, the entire votes, whoever gets the highest will be declared as the winner. Okay? So now, this is very interesting because if we are to think of the previous election or the election during 2016, so hindi naman napaka-intriguing, but when we study it, okay, so let's see what will be the possible results if we apply the different types of voting system. Naalala ba yung 2016 election? Okay? So here, meron tayo dito nanalo lang si President Rodrigo Duterte. But there are parties wherein questioning the legitimacy of his presidency simply because he did not meet the majority. Dahil yung boto ni Rodrigo Duterte umabot lang ng 38.2%. Okay? So, syempre, if we use plurality, wala tayong magagawa. Siya talaga yung presidente. Okay? So, yan. So, plurality does not guarantee that a candidate preferred by the majority of voters will win. So, ano yung implication? For example, kung hindi mo nakuha yung majority. So we will deal with that. But first, let's have the first 2 scenarios. Okay, so if we apply the round-up or the majority vote. Okay? So, let's say, nag-round off tayo. Dahil hindi natin na-reach yung majority. So, this is now voting system number 2. So, ibig sabihin lang ng voting system number 2, okay, pag hindi natin na-reach yung majority, uulitin natin yung botohan. Tatanggalin na natin dun yung mga mabababa yung nakuhang boto. Let's say, for example, natira na lang is si Duterte at si Rojas. Okay? So, here, we remove Santiago, Binay, and Grace po. So, ang natira na lang is si Duterte and Rojas. So, ngayon, magbobotohan ulit. Okay? So, let's take, for example, lahat nung bumoto dun sa mga natanggal, binoto si Duterte. So, the result will be 78% voted for Duterte, 22% voted for Rojas. So, if you notice, Rodrigo Duterte achieved the majority votes. Okay? So, that's the first scenario. The second one is, what if yung mga natanggal, bumoto naman kay Rojas? So here, in the same thing, by majority vote, panalo si Rojas. So why is it important for a voting system to achieve majority? Diba? Democracy kasi tayo, when we say democracy, it is ruled by majority. So kaya minsan, na-question if we didn't reach majority. So this will be the implication once we have the majority. Clearer mandate. Okay? So winning over 50% would mean he had majority support from voters, giving stronger legitimacy. The second one is greater public trust. Citizens are more likely to accept policies knowing that the leader was chosen by most voters. Reduce polarization. So a majority win shows broader appeal, helping unite supporters and opponents. Stronger governing power. Minimize post-election disputes. So yan naman yung advantage ni majority once a candidate win by majority. So hindi na question yung legitimacy niya. Okay, questionin man, kokonti na lang. Unlike if you win, let's say you win because of a particular system, let's say hindi siya with plurality lang, so hindi niya inabot yung 50 plus 1, okay, so that will be a bigger problem. Okay? So another one here is, what if we use weighted votes? Okay? So let's take for example, meron tayo ditong, ayan na rin, yung mga candidates in the past. So the weights in Luzon is 35, the weights in Visayas is 25, Mindanao 30, Metro Manila 8, others or abroad we have 2. So what if si Grace po yung nanalo sa Luzon? Okay? So if you notice, since Luzon received a highest weight, the tendency is that Grace po will be declared as winner. Okay? So ibig sabihin yan, kumbaga sa subjects natin, okay, so kung meron tayong 5-unit subject, so most likely, the 5-unit subject will receive a bigger portion in the computation of your GWA. Okay? So meaning, the possibility that another winner will occur is possible. So in this case, it will be Grace po. Okay? So, ayan. Ayan. So we have, if Duterte will win, so then if we have Grace po will dominate. So 50% winner. So that is for weighted votes. So, ayan. So meaning to say, in the voting system that we have, so if we go back to the question a while ago, if we vote honestly, are we gonna get the do we get the, let's say, the most appropriate or the most, let's say, ideal candidate? So basically, it will be decided by the system that we are using. The system that we are using is plurality. Okay, so if we go back in the different elections that we have, so most of the time, we have a winner who did not meet the majority or did not receive the majority votes. Okay? So this is the question a while ago. If fairness guaranteed by honesty, or it is shaped by the rule used to count. So bumoto naman tayo ng tama. Pero guarantee ba na fair yung ginamit natin? Okay? So just like, let's say, for example, in the system that we have, bumoto kayo. Tama naman yung binoto nyo. Okay? Pero guaranteed ba na masasagot or magiging fair yung result? So, it depends on how you will treat it. Okay? So, nasa sa inyo rin yan kung paano nyo siya titignan. Okay? So, election rules shape outcomes. So, that is why it is very important, okay, for us to understand, okay, the concept of voting system. So, if we understand understanding math protects democracy, knowing how votes, percentages, and system works help ensure elections are accurate and transparent. So ito naman yung catch. So wala namang perfectong voting system. Okay? So trade-offs are unavoidable. So meaning to say, whatever voting system we apply, meron at meron niyang kahinaan. So hindi siya pwedeng maging perfecto. Pero, in the voting, once we study voting system, makikita naman natin doon yung mas applicable. Okay? Ayan. Oops. Gusto niya nang tapusin. So, that's why here, the question here is, handa na ba kayo sa halalan 2028? Okay? So, kanina, sa talk ni Professor Joy, okay, so she discussed the concept of pamahiin. The problem, or one of the problems that we are facing now, based on my observation lang naman, most likely comes from the concept of pamahiin. Because the pamahiin that we have in the past, most of the time, we apply it in election. Okay, tanggapin mo na yan. Wala namang wawawala sa atin. Pera rin yan. Okay? So, iboto na natin si ganito. Kamag-anak natin yan. Okay? Iboto natin si ganito. Mayaman yan, hindi yan magiging corrupt. Okay? So, meaning, what we're facing now basically is not, the problem that we're facing now actually is not due to, let's say, the fact, okay, that we have, or evidence that we have. Okay, so ang nagiging problema natin ngayon, kahit alam na natin yung tama, pumupunta pa rin tayo dun sa mali. So why is that the problem? So yun nga yung tanong ngayon. Let's take for example, iboto natin si ganito dahil sikat siya sa social media. Nag-fact check, okay? Upon fact-checking, nakita niya ang daming puro fake news pala yung nilalagay doon. Pero at the end of the day, siya pa rin yung binoboto. Okay? So alam na natin na fake news peddler yung isa, pero siya pa rin yung binoboto natin. So that is why it is very important to prepare. Okay? As early as now, we need to prepare for the 2028 election. So what do we need to do? Okay? So, you have definitely to be a registered voter, okay? So, napakahirap, let's say, kutsain yung mga botante kung di ka naman botante. Diba? So we have to fact-check information, think critically. So dalawa yan, okay? So plan my vote wisely. So kanina, sabi nga ni Ma'am Joy, kahit scientific evidence na yung pinakita, naniniwala pa rin yung iba dun sa fake news. Okay? So bakit kaya? Even though with scientific evidence, we still, if this is the scientific evidence, ito yung fake news, dito pa rin tayo pumupunta sa fake news. Okay? So we try to give reason for this news to be fake, to be the truth. Okay? So yan. So on 2028, so make sure that you are be ready so that the problems that we're facing now, most likely para naman mabawas-bawasan. Okay, so remember, we are in the democratic country. Nakalagay kanina doon sa concept of democracy that it is ruled by the majority. And the majority are the voters, hindi yung leaders. Huwag nating sambahin yung mga politician. Kutyain natin or batikusin natin sila kung mali. Okay, suportahan kung tama. So, yun. Okay, so nagmamadali masyado yung clicker. Anong... Tinapos na. Okay? Ayan. So, kaya nga sabi nila, so okay, ayan. So, the question while ago, kung natatandaan, in the last election that we have, honest kayong bumoto, sa tingin nyo, fair yung naging results. If you notice, nahati pa rin yung mga sagot. Okay? So, we voted honestly, but the result came up differently. So, meaning to say, ayun nga, it simply means that the trust that we have in the government is very low. So, yung paniniwala natin sa gobyerno ay masyadong mababa. So, kahit anong lumabas sa election, we always keep on questioning the results. Okay? So, kaya, simulan sa matalinong pagboto ang pagbabago. Okay? Oh, ayan. So, as early as now, I am thanking you or nagpapasalamat na ako dahil siguro sa darating na 2028, okay, so matalino nyo nang pipiliin kung sino yung magiging bago nating pinuno. Okay, so on that, so maraming salamat sa pakikinig.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alinas, for that insightful, very informative discussion. This is a great reminder to everybody. Sana lahat tayo nakikinig to be smart when we vote. Na po, this 2028. So we don't want to sound very political here, pero let's be smart. No? Let's be smart in voting. Sige po.
At this point, we will open the floor for the question and answer portion. So may we request our two resource speakers to please proceed on stage. So speakers, you may take your seats po on the provided chairs so you may feel comfortable. And also, we are requesting Professor Francis Jerome Gutierrez from the Natural Science Department and Dr. Susan Guevara from the Math and Physics Department, who will be the ones to facilitate the students who have questions. So students, if you have questions, kindly approach them po.
Okay, so those who have questions about the topics that were discussed today, don't hesitate to ask. We have our buena mano. Sir?
Hi, hello po. Good morning. I'm Joshua Samulde po, part ng faculty member ng class. Actually po, interesting sa akin yung last na tawag dito, na topic. No, actually, may ginawa akong tula before. Mag-share ako ng kaunti kasi hindi ko siya pwede i-publish ng lahat. Sabi ko, ang wika ng bayan. Sabi dito, bayan, ano nga ba ang pulso mo? Laging sigaw, iboto ang tamang politiko. Sino ang tama sa mga sanggano? Gayong lahat sila, Panginoon ang demonyo. Pero yun lang, isi-share ko lang. Pero hindi po yun yung main question ko po. Ang question ko ay tungkol po sa pamahiin. Kasi, actually, nung nakikinig ako, nakuha yung attention ko. Yes, sabi natin, we need to listen to the elders. But yung take ko naman dito, do not listen to, most of the time we are listening to the elders, pero I don't want to believe in that belief, no, na maniwala sa elders kasi even the fool can grow old. So, hindi lahat pwede paniwalaan. It was part of your disclaimer po, Ma'am Joy, that science is not meant to invalidate pamahiin, but rather to explain it. I am an advocate of indigenous people and I believe that there is sense of sacredness in some, if not all of the pamahiin. The example mentioned earlier are part of the pamahiin observed by the generation or the contemporary generation, which may be the result of an imperfect transfer of knowledge from original holder of that knowledge. My question is, how can science validate the accuracy and inaccuracy of pamahiin if science is largely rooted from the Western traditions, while the pamahiin, such as those mentioned earlier, or kung may iba pang pamahiin, are Filipino-oriented belief, no, that have evolved over time? Can we really use science as the sole tool to measure and explain belief? Thank you po.
Thank you, Sir Joshua, for that wonderful question. So let me just say this, that science is not a panacea. It does not actually answer all the questions we have in our minds. But I guess I just would like to emphasize the statement that I used when I ended my talk earlier, that you know that you have a scientific mind. You have your scientific thinking that could guide you in navigating those aspects. So you ask yourself those questions. Is there an evidence that could support this idea? Kasi nagkakaproblema lang naman kapag we're too obsessed in following that pamahiin. Like for example, you're no longer seeking medical advice just because, again, your elder or your parent told you to do this. But again, as long as you're using your scientific mind and thinking, for sure, you will never get lost. And Sir Joshua, I couldn't agree more with you that we Filipinos, we have a lot of pamahiin, and I'm not claiming that I'm an expert of those things, but the only thing that I could maybe impart on this lecture is how can we use science to explain those pamahiin? Because again, it's part of our culture, it's part of our identity, and we can never separate ourselves from those traditions. Thank you, Sir Joshua.
Okay, may question po dito.
So, good morning po. I am Sean Caliboso from 1A English. I have two questions po. Actually, one for each speaker po. Siguro I'll start po muna with Sir regarding the voting system. For the both lectures po, I really love how informative and how simple the topic for us to really understand regarding both topics. But for the voting system, medyo layo lang konti sa voting system. So I would like to ask your opinion, sir, since malapit na ang election for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan election. What is your opinion, sir, or your POV regarding the anti-dynasty bill that is currently being passed in the Congress? In your opinion, what are the pros and cons for it? And should we really push for it? And if we push for it, what would be the benefit of the Filipino citizens for it? Since may nagsasabi na si political dynasty, may mga mabubuting pamilya naman, i-push natin sila. Pero we all know that in the Philippine history, mas madami ang political system na ginawang business ang gobyerno sa Pilipinas. So what is your opinion regarding that, sir?
Actually, in the different drafts that they have in anti-dynasty bill, so marami kasi pa rin siyang mga weaknesses. So I think I am for one particular congressman who proposed that instead of simply concentrating on on dynasty bill, why not simply create a law that will prohibit others to run for a particular seat once na meron ng tumakbong isang kamag-anak nila. So meaning, on the lineage of the family, once na may tumakbong isa doon, on a particular seat, whether national or local, wala nang pwedeng tumakbong iba pa. So the question is, maganda naman yung ginagawa nila. Okay? So, yun kasi, nakikita natin yung magandang ginagawa nila. Simply because, sila lang yung nakikita natin. Kasi hindi natin na-measure na meron pa palang mas iba na mas marami pang magagawa other than them. Kaya nga, kung tatanungin ka, bakit sa ganitong lugar let's say, napaka-unlad. Pero pag tatanungin mo, ilang years na ba yung naging mayor nyo? 30 years or 20 years. So in 20 years, so syempre, kung wala kang makikitang pag-unlad in 20 years, so ibig sabihin, okay, so walang ginawa yung mayor. Or kung may nakita ka namang pag-unlad, sa 20 years na binigay sa'yo, imposibleng hindi umunlad yung isang lugar. So yun lang naman yung take ko dun.
Alright. Thank you so much, sir, for your insight. And for ma'am naman po, since it has been, based from your data po na medyo nasa gitna, na they believe in science and they believe in pamahiin, I would like to ask for your advice on how can we tell people or how can we convince people, those who believe in pamahiin, to carefully also understand the science behind it, since parang in your family, sir, family ma'am, naging problem siya in terms of that. So we all know naman na it rooted from the elderlies na they don't have the knowledge regarding science, since may mga iba naman po bagong discovery pa lang and they don't have access to it. So especially sa mga elders po, how can we respectfully educate them na I respect po your pamahiin, pero ganito po yung sinasabi ni science. And medyo curious lang ma'am, what's your favorite pamahiin and how does it back with science naman po?
Oh, okay. So I guess the best thing that we could bring from this lecture is to have that sense of awareness. Sense of awareness that not all things can be answered, because sometimes we can also be fooled. Even an educated person, even if you are a medical person like me, I can also be fooled sometimes. Kaya lang kasi ang iniisip ko, is it worth it? Is it worth my peace of mind? Because what if I'm already somehow parang affecting the peace of mind of others? Like for example, yung mama ko na nakwento ko kanina. 'Di ba? It's actually her way of taking care of me and my baby. And I fully respected that. As long as I know that I'm doing the best thing for my baby, that what I'm doing does not affect my developing baby that time, I think I'm good. So you can also do that kind of thinking every time you are encountering a pamahiin or a belief, 'di ba? As long as it's within the bounds of reality, you're not too obsessed with that idea, I guess you're good. And to answer your question, what's my favorite pamahiin? Ano ba yung favorite pamahiin ko? So, siguro, yun na yung sinabi ng mama ko na matulis yung tiyan ko. Na matulis yung tiyan ko. Because it turned out to be true. Diba? Imagine na there's no need na for you to do a gender reveal anymore, a gender reveal party anymore. Kasi nalaman na kaagad ng mama ko yung gender ng baby ko. So for me, that was really sentimental. So thank you.
Okay, so we have the next question here.
Hi po, good morning. I am Echave Chester Kirby from 1ABSCE. And yung question ko po is for Ma'am Pascual. I was hoping po sana na merong example po, may narinig po kasi akong superstition na kapag puyat po kayo and maliligo po kayo, may instances na may puputok daw po yung veins niyo po sa ulo or something like that. And I just wanna know po if that superstition is actually true or hindi po naman talaga totoo.
Ano yung mangyayari dun sa veins?
Kapag puyat po, let's say puyat
Puputok?
po. Puputok po. Kapag naligo po, kapag puyat or pagod. Is that true po ba, ma'am?
So I guess for me, that's too harsh to assume. Probably you're thinking of the vasoconstriction that is happening every time you're exposed to cold. Yon. Kasi syempre, di ba, our blood vessels are very sensitive. When exposed to warm, it would vasodilate. When it exposed to cold temperature, it would vasoconstrict. But that scenario is a different one. Ibang usapan kapag yung aneurysm na kind or yung parang stroke na situation, ibang usapan na yun because there are so many predisposing factors that can contribute to that situation.
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
So, good morning po. I am Elise Carpizo from Site 1A English. And first of all, I would like to commend both of you po for the very great integration of the topics and the subjects that you've discussed since they're very interesting in my point of view po. So, this question is for Professor Frederick Alinas po. Since earlier you've given us different kinds of voting systems, different scenarios of who could have won the 2016 election if we'd tried to use the different types of voting systems. So with that, what do you think po is the most applicable, fitting, or the best voting system that we can use here in the Philippines? And with that kind of voting system, how can we ensure that those votes are fair and transparent? Transparent po yun na po.
Okay, so if you noticed a while ago, the voting system that we are using, there's no question that about it. So it is also applicable to our country. So, but if you notice, when we are to check the type of government that we have, so it is a democratic country. So when we say democracy, it should be run by majority. So the only problem that we have now is there will be possibility that the winner will not have the majority votes. That is why I suggest if we can have number 2. So we have majority votes. The only problem there is it's very expensive. So that's the one of the disadvantages. The second disadvantage of that is that when we do the runoff, the problem there is the number of voters decline. Okay, so yun nga, hindi na let's say for example kung 30 million yung bumoto, on the round-off nagiging 15 million na rin, 15 million na lang. That is the disadvantage. Pero kung gagawin naman lahat natin yung role natin as voters, and if we practice the concept of democracy through voting, sa atin pa lang malalaman na natin kung transparent ba yung nangyaring botohan o hindi. So remember, nagsisimula naman yung pandaraya sa maliit na bagay. So pag pinalampas natin, definitely, ayun na, naging kultura na nga sa Pilipinas. Ayan, thank you.
Okay, so it's our turn.
Hi, good morning, ma'am, sir. I am a humble student from 1 BSMA. I wanted to specifically ask Ma'am Joy about a question I hope you won't see as short-sighted or limited, but do you believe that these beliefs trace back to a simple, primitive, universal logic system? Kasi po, I wanted more insight into how these beliefs are formed and what kind of logic systems contribute to these beliefs and how they are created. Yun lang po.
You're talking about the origin of pamahiin?
Uh, what kind of logic system is most persistent when these
mo-
beliefs are created po?
Again, the most persistent pamahiin?
Uh,
Go ahead.
Logic po.
The logic behind pamahiin. Oh, okay. So based on my readings, when I was preparing for this project, for this research, I found out that early Filipinos, they were just trying to make sense of everything that is around them. So since they don't have professional doctors yet before or nurses before, so they were just trying to understand what is happening around them or what's happening in their body. So it's expected that it will not be super accurate. So since again, kung ano lang yung nakikita nila, yun lang yung sa tingin nilang parang tinitingnan nila na way to explain that pamahiin. So expect that it was not somehow logical. That's why earlier I presented pamahiin that are biologically logical because there's biological mechanism that can explain those pamahiin. And there were also pamahiin that can be considered supernatural or parang magic or parang symbol. Because again, we cannot find a direct association of that pamahiin to our human body. Like for example, yung kaninang binigay ko na example about fruit seeds. So anong kinalaman, 'di ba? Anong kinalaman ng buto ng prutas, 'di ba? Doon sa pagtubo ng halaman sa tiyan mo, just imagine. But again, since siguro our elders were just trying to protect us long time ago, 'di ba? I guess that's their way of taking care of their family. So that's why they invented those kinds of pamahiin or ideas. Did I answer your question? Go ahead.
Pero do you believe it ties into a simple kind of logic system po, like universal po?
If it's tied to a logical system,
Yeah, universal po.
universal system,
Kasi po,
go
if you
ahead.
think about it, many superstitions globally can be a bit similar to each other po.
It's quite similar based on your observation. Oh, okay. So I guess I don't have the expertise to answer that question now. But earlier I mentioned about the cultural cognition theory. Social science has a lot of theories that can explain this phenomenon. So just like what I mentioned earlier, even if you are presented with facts already, with evidences, we Filipinos, we tend to follow what is being taught to us by our friends, by our family, or by the community that we are in. Because again, it's deeply ingrained na in our identity or in our culture. So yun. So I cannot give or I cannot think of any kind of a more logical explanation than that. So since it's culture, pamahiin is supposed to be cultural. Thank you.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next question.
Hello po, my name is Christian Palim Nomibao from 1BSMA. And my question is to you, Ma'am Joy, which is a prediction question.
Estudyante ko pala itong mga to. Go ahead.
So my question to you po is that as technology and increases over time and researches has produces over time, do you think that superstition will still have its impact in the in the future, or will it fall into obscurity po?
Oh, would it completely disappear in the future?
Since because that as many researchers have can debunk or can lead to an explanation on superstitions, which leads to many superstitions will fall into obscurity po. So do you think that it will still that superstition will still be prevalent today and in the near future, or will it fall into obscurity po?
Okay, so I guess it depends on the society that we live in. Here in the Philippines, 'di ba, we or somehow very collectivist in our ways, in our practices, that our relationship with our family is very important. So I guess, to answer your question, mukhang hindi siya mawawala. Hindi siya mawawala. Because again, we have this culture in our country that is relying much on our ways, on our traditions. But of course, you can ask yourselves that question. Because based on my study earlier, even if my respondents were Gen Z students studying anatomy and physiology, a lot of them still believe in those traditional beliefs. Just imagine. So what more if a student is not studying science, 'di ba? So ano na lang yung magiging score? Kasi yung mga estudyante ko na yun, nag-aaral na yun ng ANAFI, pero talaga naniniwala pa rin talaga sila doon sa traditional beliefs na yun or pamahiin. So I guess, it's still very much present in your generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next question.
Good morning po. I am Churchill Manmedoria from 1A English, but you can call me Cheryl. Wow, a lot of the questions that have been asked so far are large scale. I'm a little intimidated. This one's more of a smaller scale question for Miss Pascual, or Professor Pascual. One of the myths that caught my attention was the one about pregnant women in doorways, about how it's not really recommended for them to give birth in doorways in general. I'm more so wondering why, how did that develop? Why, like, wouldn't it be harder for pregnant women to give birth in general anywhere?
Unfortunately, based on my investigation about it, there was really no correlation between the doorway, between the doorway and difficulty in labor. Again, as I've mentioned, it was our parents' way or our way to protect the developing baby or to protect our family. So since back in the days, they don't have knowledge yet about fetal development or how the baby is developing inside the uterus. They don't have access to medical doctors yet or hospital. So again, they were just trying to make sense of everything based on the tools that they have during that time. Okay? So it's purely symbolic. It's purely symbolic, yes.
Yeah. So it's more so anecdotal, or like what happened, what they saw during those times. Well, we don't know. There's no findings. But I'm guessing something happened.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You could maybe research on that.
I'll go see if I can find anything about pregnant women on doorways. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Churchill.
you.
Next.
Okay po. Hello po, my name is Rosan.
Another student of mine.
Ano po? Okay po. Hello po, my name is Rosan Stephanie J. Consing. I am from 1A BE Ed. This question is like aimed towards you po, Ma'am, Prof. Pascual po. This is like parang curiosity ko na din is, as a BE Ed student who are been assigned to teach young children, especially since children nowadays are really prone to believing what their elders says to them every day. Like example, like sinasabihan ako dati na wag ko dapat lunukin yung bubble gum kasi magsa-stuck siya sa
It would stay in your stomach.
Opo. Same din po siya sa it's the same po dun sa seeds. So as a teacher din po, how will I explain this to my students po na this isn't really scientifically accurate po?
Okay, so thank you so much for that question. That was really inspiring, knowing that you are a future teacher. So I guess you could train your students. Maybe you can train your students to always be scientific in everything, to always look for evidence. May it not be accurate, but train their minds to always look for evidence. So that way, they could weigh the pros and cons. That this evidence support this belief? Does this evidence somehow answer my question? Those things. Because again, our role our role as teachers, you as future teacher, is to educate, of course, their mind, prepare them for real world, because we cannot always assess our students. We cannot always answer the questions of our students. In fact, we don't have all the questions for everything. I always tell this to my student na hindi ko alam lahat ng tanong, but as long as you have that scientific mind, you're good.
Okay po, thank you po.
Okay, so next question.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good morning, Sir Alinas. My question is for Sir Alinas. First, let me first introduce myself. I am Kerr Condis Panizales from 1B Associate HM. Okay, my question is, why if we apply to other job or specific job, there's a lot of requirements such as PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, or etc. And if we run as a senator, as long as you know how to read and write, you can have the spot or you can apply as that position, sir. What is your comment behind this?
So actually, that's the one of the let's say case that former senator Defensor keep on mentioning, that the leader who would run should be well educated. Okay, so it should have a criteria. We should have placed a criteria for a particular candidate for him or her to sit in the office. But the Constitution will tell us that, okay, so each one of us has the right to run, okay, provided that we meet a particular criteria that they set. So why they set on that particular note? For us, for every citizen in the country to be a possible candidate. So hindi naman kasi pwedeng sasabihin natin na dapat ang kandidato lang ay graduate ng law. Let's say, for example, for senators or for Congress, for the House of Representatives. Most of the time, we keep on seeing in the comments, why is this candidate running for this particular seat na hindi naman nakapag-aral ng batas? Okay? So, meaning to say, the Constitution that we have guarantees that whether we graduated in college or whether we have an education or not, we are still possible to run for a particular seat para pantay-pantay lahat. Unlike in applying for job, so meron na kasi yung kanya-kanyang criteria that they will set. Simply because mas marami ng competition when it comes to jobs. So why do they need to get those different different, let's say for example, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, because that's also set by the law. So kailangan mo yun, hindi naman para sa gobyerno, para sa'yo. Let's say for example, PhilHealth, SSS, let's say for the government employee, GSIS, and so on. So meaning to say, all of those that they require you to submit, it is not for the company, it's for you in the future. Ayan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Good morning po. I'm Jerome Michael Manzano from Institute of Psychology. Ang question ko lang po is, sa tingin nyo po, bakit hindi po natin ma-implement po sa bansa natin yung electoral voting system? And ano po yung mga possible effect po nun pag na-apply po natin yung sa bansa natin? Especially po, kasi po sa electoral voting system, yun nga po yung parang every region magtatalaga po sila na tatlong electoral voting system to know kung sino po yung winner for that regions. Yun po.
Ayan. So I think Duterte administration have already started that. So we have what we call the electoral votes. So syempre, if we do electoral votes, one of the problems there will be, ayun nga, will it be passed by the Congress? Wala namang problema sa different types of voting system natin. The problem that we will be facing will be the Congress. Will they pass it or not? So most likely, hindi nila ipapasa yun kung ang practice pa rin natin ng pagboto yung ginagawa natin ngayon. If we vote simply because they are, let's say, they have the money. If they vote simply because they are popular, so hindi pa rin mababago yung system natin. So just like what I mentioned a while ago, kahit ano namang system yan, kung hindi natin susuportahan yan or kung hindi natin ipangangalandakan yung karapatan natin, wala pa rin mangyayari. So meaning to say, so whatever system we have, as long as, let's say, we do our duties and responsibilities as voters, kahit anong klase pa yan, okay, so definitely, magiging maayos yung voting system natin. Though in the Philippines, ideal kasi yung sinabi nga kanina, which is the electoral votes, simply because we are divided by different regions. So ideal siya because I think bawat community may kanya-kanya silang mga sentiments and yung nangyayari kasi, na-overwhelm yung sentiments nila nung majority. Di ba? So, pero meron kaya nga tinatag si party list system na ginawa namang, di ba? Naging problema na ngayon, di ba? Si party list system.
Okay, so we have our last question here.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Renz Jared P. Aranda from 1A ABS-CE. As for my question, as you said, many people believe in superstitions. However, superstitions can sometimes be dangerous. Like, kulam where instead of going to the doctor, some families go to an albularyo. What do you think we should do if you have parents who strongly believe in superstitions?
Okay, thank you so much. That's a really great question. What can you do being that you are in the forefront, you are hearing this information right now? I guess the best thing you can do is to respectfully explain to your parent what you've learned. Now that you are an educated individual, you're here in a university learning about science, learning about so many things. I guess you have the authority now to explain or to educate them about those traditional beliefs. Because again, we can consider some of them as very harmless. Pero kasi, meron din, tama ka doon, may mga superstition na somehow nagre-restrict na rin ng mga ideas or nagre-restrict na rin ng mga practices. And those can be harmful, most especially if your health is being affected. So I guess that's the advice that I could give you. Kindly educate them, respectfully educate them, everything about what you've learned now that you are here in University of Makati. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I ask another unrelated question, ma'am? Can cultural superstition affect political behavior such as voting choices or campaign strategies and in fairness?
So actually, it's already affecting the voting system that we have. Okay. So I think based on experience, you know the answer to that. So it's already affected the voting system that we have now. So cultural beliefs most of the time is the key factor while why a particular candidate wins. Okay? So cultural factor, let's say, kaya nga kung papansinin nyo yun sa media, sa social media, marami na ngayong lumalabas. Let's say, tatakbo akong senator para sa mga Cebuano. O tatakbo akong senador para sa mga Bisaya. Pero if you go back to their background, hindi naman sila Bisaya o hindi rin naman sila Cebuano. They simply use, because the impact of them being Bisaya, okay, based on culture, so nahahatak yung pag kinilala siyang Bisaya, voters from the Bisaya will vote for them. So yun. So kaya malakas pa rin yung impact ng cultural belief actually in our voting system. Okay.
Thank you po, ma'am and sir.
Okay, so I think that concludes the question and answer.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
po.
Yes, thank you so much. First, we would like to thank, of course, the speakers who imparted and shared abundance of information to us. Thank you po. And of course, to the students who participated in the question and answer. Okay. Sige po. Speakers, please stay on stage as we do the awarding of certificates.
To recognize the invaluable contribution of our speakers, we will now proceed to the awarding of certificates of recognition. So may we invite Dean Sagadraca, the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Professor Eden Rafalio, our college secretary, and all of the department heads to come up on stage to award the Certificate of Appreciation. Let me read the citation. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Dr. Joy R. Pascual and Dr. Frederick B. Alinas in grateful recognition of her and his invaluable contribution as a resource speaker during Class Act, a magisterial lecture held on March 17, 2006 at the University of Makati Performing Arts Theater, organized by the Department of the Natural Science Department and Math and Physics Department under the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. This lecture was made more meaningful through the speaker's expertise and dedication in sharing knowledge with the academic community. Signed by Associate Professor Leonardo N. Pasquito, Chair of the Natural Science Department, Professor Blanca Di Maunahan, Chair of the Department of Math and Physics Department, Professor Tessie Tapiador Sagadraca, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and Professor Ederson D.T. Tapia, DPA Vice President for Academic Affairs. Let's give them a warm round of applause. As we near the conclusion of today's program, we would like to invite Professor D. Maunahan, Professor Blanca R. D. Maunahan, Chair of the Department of Mathematics and Physics, to deliver her word of thanks. Let's give her a warm round of applause.
-2 points, Ma'am Alcazar. Good morning. So as we conclude our magisterial lecture this morning, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to the two amazing lecturers from Science Department, Dr. Joy Pascual, and from the Math and Physics Department, Dr. Frederick Bactol Alinas, kompleto yan, for sharing their expertise and insights with us. Your inspiring discussions truly deepen the students' appreciation for math and science. So I would also like to extend our appreciation to the organizers of this event for their effort, preparation, and commitment in making this event possible. A special mention to the two masters of ceremony, Ma'am Orang and Ma'am Alcazar. Thank you so much. You did it. Kudos, moms. To the faculty and all the students who attended and participated, thank you for your enthusiasm and active involvement. Your presence and engagement contributed greatly to the success of this event. So once again, thank you everyone for our magisterial lecture to be a memorable learning experience. Thank you so much and good morning. Have a wonderful day to all of us.
Thank you very much, Professor Blanca. Please remain in the venue as we proceed with the photo opportunity with our distinguished speakers, administrators, and participants. Since we're done already with the photo opportunity per department kanina, siguro this time, pa-favor naman, everybody na po, the faculty, members of the Department of Sciences, and the Department of Math and Physics, dito na po tayo, College Secretary, and of course our Dean, together with our two amazing speakers for today. All right. So while waiting, we will now be posting the QR code for the evaluation of the speakers of today's lecture. After completing the evaluation form, you will receive your certificate of participation to your emails. This form is only open until 6 p.m. of today.
Wala na to, di ba? Wala na to. Bakit sila din nakiano? Gusto ko yung inuna nila yun. Andito naman. Ayan, bet.
Once again, thank you for being part of Class Act Season 4, and we hope that today's lecture have inspired new ideas, strengthened academic collaboration, and deepened our commitment to learning. So let us all stand for the singing of the Yumak hymn.
To the alma mater, University of Makati. Rejoice, we're here, onward marching, be it shine, storm, cloud, or rain. Let all our voices keep ringing for the glory of our alma mater, pride of Makati and our fatherland, beloved UMAC proudly stands. Arise, thy sons and daughters, fill the air with the joy of alma mater. Resound our gladness and tidings, every echo by far and near. Yes, we are here, beloved UMAC. Faithfully we brace our mind and spirit. We're proud to be at thy command, future builders of this land. Arise, thy sons and daughters, fill the air with the joy of alma mater. Resound our gladness and tidings, every echo by far and near. Yet to thee are near, beloved UMAC. Faithfully we brace our mind and spirit. We're proud University of Makati.